It's the Slam Dunk.
Right, if you were unaware, Plunket has a compulsory course for all staff. It's called Be a Better Treaty Partner. All staff must do it. There's no opting out unless, of course, you're Māori. Only then do you not have to do this course. Otherwise, it's mandatory. It's a 12-hour online course for staff. And I've been approached by people within Plunket, staff within Plunket, who aren't happy. And they tell me they're troubled by this course and they're concerned with the content and the compulsory nature of it. They tell me what started out as an effort to address history and cultural sensitivity has morphed into something much more, and it in many ways points the finger at Pākehā, and it raises more questions as it does answer anything, really. Plunket says it's no big deal. It's about understanding our past, about colonisation, about the treaty. What is racism? What is white privilege? Now, whether anything like that should ever be compulsory is beyond me, but surely offer it up, but why shove it down people's throats? It's an attempt to make people feel guilty, and what does that achieve, really? I'm told by staff, they even use the text Me and White Supremacy by Isla F. Said, and that's unapologetic in its perspective. It's a controversial bestseller from 2020. It's a self-help book designed to combat racism, change the world, and recognise your white privilege in your lives. In Me and White Supremacy, Said asserts, quote, white silence is violence. It actively protects the system, implying that white staff are guilty just for existing quietly. Another gem states, quote, white supremacy is a system you've been born into. It's granted you unearned privileges, protection and power. So it frames every white person as inherently privileged. No debate is allowed on this. This is why staff have approached me. They are aghast at what has been pushed down their throats. Now, the goal of Plunket is apparently to own their colonial roots and boost equity and services. It all sounds very worthy and noble, but no one's ever accused Plunket of leaving anyone behind. And Plunket's history was an organisation that I know was built on practicality and saving babies and saving lives and giving kids and families the best possible start in life. Racial boundaries were never discussed or used. And all babies, no matter where and what colour, were seen by Plunket. It brought Māori and Pākehā families together, working side by side for the common good. But this deep reach into our past makes no mention of the good things that Plunket's achieved over the years and guilts all those involved, despite the fact that Plunket we all know this, brought nurses and doctors and families together across racial lines. There was never an issue. That's the Plunket that I've been told about and also experienced as a user of the service. My kids, who are Māori, were never turned away, and I never felt any racism in the system. We were welcomed alongside everyone. In many ways, I always thought of Plunket as having and does have a legacy of unity. But this course sidesteps the story, of course, slapping a colonial guilt label on everything, including all white staff members. It's not just a rewrite. I think it's disrespectful to the people across races who made Plunket what it is today and what it's always been. So check out the content of the course. I've got some of the details here. The deeper you look, the shakier it gets. Here's the outline of the course. Staff tell me course topics like, let's look at racism, but I'm not racist. It pushes them to admit racism that they might not even feel. It all wraps up with lessons from a recovering racist. You'll see that in the line there, suggesting that white staff members are in recovery for their white privilege, as if it's like a disease that they can't get rid of. I mean, this isn't education, it's a guilt trip with a predetermined destination, leaving little room for staff to question or push back without being labelled as part of the problem. We know what's been said there. The screenshots back all this up, so you'll see all that there. One outlines hard conversations about racism, but there's no hint of balance. Staff have told me that discussion groups are led by facilitators, quick to steer things back to the script, you see, back to the sort of narrative. One staff member told me that 12 hours of this doesn't feel like learning, it feels like a push to conform. And for an organisation strapped for resources, why sink time into ideology over practical skills? These guys are tight for resources. Get on with the job. Plunket's supposed to be about families. I never thought it was about factions. The course doesn't just miss the mark. It undermines a history of an organisation of working together. It's in your face. It's not in any nuanced way. And the real risk here is that they may well alienate good staff from the very job that they're doing and they're here to do and being trained for. Plunket has done great work for New Zealanders, don't get me wrong. Supports families right across the board. From the stats I can gather, they've been involved in the lives of nearly 6 out of 10 Māori babies. So why do this? I think there's a real push in the public sector and around organisations for this sort of thing. I think that organisations think if they don't do this, then they'll be called out. I think it's deeply concerning and troubling, and it may end up being counterproductive. It risks dividing staff, distracting from the real work of helping families, which is what Plunket should be all about. Staff who have come to me feel concerned and scared to speak out publicly, and they've privately told me all this, and they've urged me to air their concerns, which I'm doing. These are good people. They do God's work every day, and they don't deserve to be guilt-tripped for the colour of their skin and shamed into thinking that they're the problem and always have been. I think Plunket needs to pull the pin on this ASAP before it damages how staff feel about the place even further. It's time to draw a line under this nonsense. I mean, the treaty partner, after all, is the Crown in Māori. When were the little people working so hard for all families on a daily basis, no matter what race they are, when were they the problem? It simply has to end, this sort of nonsense. It's taking New Zealand backwards really, really quickly, I reckon.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.